it really goes to prove that how far has the MPL Malaysia side grow in order to eventually rise up to the level and ranks of MPL Philippines. And I guess we shall wait no further to find out who will be the victors of the series. Well, let's start off with game one. Blue side is going to be MINANA EVOS here starting the bands.
Yes, and on the red side, it will be MPX NC. And if you want to put in the topic of like versatility, everyone's favorite cousin, yeah. So he is versatile enough for Minana Evos. Out of the 5 games that he played, all different heroes. As for the rest of them, there have been some repeats. So if you look at some of the repeats, means that some of their favorites, Rafaela, have been used quite frequently by Minana Evos, a hero that we have yet to see today. So that could be picked up. Novara as well have been used 3 times by Lance CY. So that could be another hot pick as well. But is it worthwhile to really ban out these two? Probably not. Probably you want to focus on to banning the meta heroes, the Matildas, the possible Fanny, and not allow any of these teams to abuse these meta heroes as of now.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. And we're also looking at choices like Angela, and we're going to be seeing whether or not are they going to go for Arlot to actually ensure a little bit more of that safety net heading into those early game, and what kind of tempo does each respective team want to play, because MPLPH side usually they are very methodical when it comes down to their approach of how to play Mobile Legends. So instead, we see a lot of Joy today, so they're going to be approaching this with a pretty smart decision to remove Joy out of the picture.
Yeah, if you talk about like the PH teams, they really have their own unique style of playing. So like Blacklist International, for example, made famous the Estes meta and just sit back, heal all the other heroes, and make sure they sustain within team fights. So as for Minana EVOS, actually they have a similar formula as well. So the Rafaela, as mentioned, that's one. If it's not a Rafaela, there will be a Matilda that is able to provide such a level of support too. So if it's not that, then well, they will pick a Minotaur, which will fall back to like what most teams or what most teams would play. So, but if I were to take like a percentage, that would be like out of 5 games that they play in this tournament, 4 of them they played that sort of support, babysitting sort of hero. So I wouldn't be surprised if that happens here again, considering that Matilda is not bad out, Angela is not bad out, but as I mentioned, then Angela is bad out, but Matilda is still open. Yeah, Matilda is still open, so I would expect that will be picked up somewhere.
Yeah, and of all the names that you brought up, I believe that we have not seen any Estes so far, and I will definitely be very excited to actually see that hero being picked, because we've heard so much about the healing meta being very dominant heading into most of all these competitions, but most often than not, coming in from the MY side, you see maybe a little bit more of aggression. They like to go for mobility compositions, as well as a little bit more of that burst damage approach. So I wonder if MPX and C is going to do exactly the same of what RSGF showcased earlier on. Now that's going to be a Bruno taken out as well. So I believe that with this form of prioritization, it does open up the pool a little bit more. Does that also mean that MPX and C, do they want to secure their early marksman hitting to this? So Lance CY has so many options available. You got the Arlot if they want to open things up with that. You have the Terizla that has been picked up quite a number of times as well. Or even Matilda is being opened up.
Yeah, to a certain extent, I feel that the Bruno ban, it feels like MPX NC following today's trend in which we saw a lot of Brunos around, because Bruno was something that they picked up before. They played Bruno 3 times in this tournament, but no wins with the Bruno. But yeah, it's still something that they are kind of comfortable to play. But we did talk about the Matilda. It was open. You did mention about it again. And Minana, it was no hesitant in picking it up.
Yeah, they just waste no time in it and they'll lock in after a couple of seconds. And for MPX and C, they gotta really think about getting themselves their main carry right now, in the sense that they've already had two bans onto marksman onto the second phase. If the pool goes even lower than that, what are the options available? So with this double pick, it's going to be the Guinevere for the first, but what's going to be the second one in their minds? MPX and C just hovering across that R lot. This seems to be a pretty solid start for the side of MPX.
Okay, so it's going to be the Arlot pick. But for the record, Venokir isn't playing this round. So they have a couple of substitutions here. So Ye3 is playing and Pozan is playing this time. So these are some of the changes that they have made. Let's see if anything, if it improves their performance this time. And what I noticed as well is that Mali isn't playing this time as well. So significant changes here for MPX NC. Now coming back to Minana EVOS, honestly, they are in a position where they have nothing to lose as well. So if they want to experiment with something that we have not seen, just like the Sun, they can do it. But they're hovering around back onto Novaria or maybe a Valentina. Very safe picks, I must say. In fact, Novaria, they have a 100% win rate, 3 times picked, and all of them wins.
Yeah, and I just absolutely love the form of utility that Novaria has to offer, especially when it comes down to a very well coordinated attack. Once you garner that form of information, you just have such a big advantage against your enemy on how you could basically have that few seconds advantage just to think how you want to launch either an aggressive approach onto the enemy side. Now that you have a Baxia being put into the Land of Dawn, I could definitely tell that for the side of Minana EVOS, they're going to be looking to secure something a lot more hard hitting to complement what they already have.
Yeah, and with the Baxia, we have seen a jungle invasion before. It is a natural meta for if you have a Baxia. So in order to counter that, it's either your roamer needs to be one of those tanky ones who can block off the Baxia from coming in, or your jungler needs to be a tanky jungler so that you won't be like running away. Like if you're an assassin, your health is not that high, and the Baxia comes invading, he can shred your health easily. So I would expect that for MPXNC, looking at the Baxia being picked up, they'll be kind of forced to pick a tanky jungler, which isn't that bad as well, considering that they have not picked up a jungler yet. So with that kind of thought process in mind, Minana EVOS, if they want to ban out, they might want to consider banning out tanky junglers like your Fedrin, for example.
Yeah, I think like Fredrin is definitely a very good shout right now because they still need another frontliner in order to get a better execution heading into this game itself. Technically, you do have somewhat of like double support-ish kind of composition, or I mean, some can argue with me that Novaria does do a lot of damage alongside. So now that is going to be the Khalid being removed. So that is gonna be a pretty interesting take heading into this because they've already got their mid laner. I thought that perhaps Mina Evos would look to ban away more options for the marksman instead, because now it will definitely be a little bit more of an opening space, but they want to ensure that this Baxia would stay alive for as long as it can. So that is going to be the Dirov to be banned now.
Yeah, typical if you have a Baxia, you ban out the Dira because you don't want to deal with the tank shredder. However, because MPXNC, even okay, I was about to say that they might want to pick a tank shredder, but it looks like they picked out the Brody instead. So no carry that was potentially a tank shredder. So that's I guess that's okay as well because the damage output from a Brody can stack up as well and can deal a lot of damage. So maybe that's something that they have in mind, stacking up with the Lilia as well, who's able to burst out a lot of damage onto the Baxia. But that also means that the Baxia can absorb a lot of ability. So that's something that they need to be aware of not over-targeting the Baxia.
I absolutely agree, and they have a plethora of options available. They're thinking about carry. Early on, there was a hover on Beatrix to go back to the Beatrix, which still does quite a significant amount of burst in that sense. So I believe that this is going to be able to work things out and to put the final piece together, it will be the Cho. So they would still be able to find ways to single out a target and just focus fire somebody down in some of all these team fights. Ideally, if you can basically camp out that Brody, make sure that he's going to be behind, that would also work out for Mina EVOS. While we're looking at a composition for MPX and C, which look to be a dive heavy composition. So if they could just consistently put in the pressure against a Novaria or even the Breatrix, then maybe, just maybe, they could find ways to open things up really early on. And I'm looking at the Rafaela to be the very final pick. Rather interesting because they, you will have that form of a movement speed buff as well as healing in order to sustain all the damages. So I wonder, does it really complement with that sort of dive approach that MPX NC is going for?
I'm actually more interested or more curious to know. This show is an XP show. When was the last time you saw an XP show? Probably like
many seasons ago. I don't even remember which season exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Because you have the Novaria, you have the Matilda, and then you have a Cho. So what makes sense for me is that Novaria goes to the mid lane. Novaria goes to the mid lane, Matilda goes to the roam, and Cho goes to the XP. Now, these are, of course, interchangeable to a certain extent between these three, but I think that is what makes sense the most. So, welcome back, Cho XP. It's been a while.
Yeah, it's been forever, it feels, because most often than not, when you have Cho, he has such a high mobility kit that you want him to kind of roam around and find those opening picks. But it does make a lot of sense that if he can actually get all that lead by just farming up over on the EXP side, then he would have, plenty full of items. Whether you want him to go that one-shot build or you want him to be that beefy front line, Cho is very, very flexible in itemization. So I believe that this can actually work out very, very well for Minana EVOS.
Yeah, Minana EVOS coming up with an unusual draft, I must say. I'll be interested to see how they execute it towards the end, but also I'll be interested to see how the Rafaela that is being picked up last by MPX NC, as what you pointed out, yes, it does give a little bit more movement speed. It does provide heal, obviously. But yeah, I this feels like a wildcard round for me, because for Minana EVOS, that draft is not the usual draft that you would see. So how would that fare against the MPX NC draft? Man, of course it's down to execution, but it's gonna be real interesting. This is something fresh.
Yeah, something that we've never really seen all the time, and they're just going slightly off course, but still has a familiar taste of what we have always seen in Mobile Legends esports. So I guess it's just time for us to find out how well can this work out for Mina EVOS and also for MPX NC, because as much as MPX NC may not have that much of a survival chance heading into this group, I believe that getting a win or even two would give them a lot more confidence of this new roster that they've built around the new addition of the player from Homeboys.
Yeah, so let's see here. Let's see. Well, they are playing with him, so they are falling back to they're rotating their lineup with Mali taking a break as well. So I guess it's something that it is the last game for them, and they have nothing much to play for, so might as well give the other boys a run out and see how they fare, and maybe it might be a proving point for upcoming preseason tournaments as well on who they might feel as their main roster. And of course, the build up towards the next MPL season, in which MPX NC will still be in it. For Minana EVOS, also not much of a stake of a game. Yes, it's more of a flex if they go number one or they don't go number one. So and it's also opportunity for these teams or these players to show why they deserve to be in the main roster. Again, this is more like an off-season tournament for them, in which they have a good run out, they test out things in a competitive setting. So whatever happens in this round, at least it doesn't really matter too much. Even for Minana EVOS, whether they get first or second, they still go through.
Yeah, overall, it's all about putting in their best game here to entertain all of you guys back at home. So make sure you guys give your utmost support to all the players out there. And when we look into, the history of all these former teams, of course, they had storied careers. Some of all these players are also just starting out in order to make their names known in the Mobile Legends esports role. So far, I believe that we do know a lot about the MPL MY scene. I believe that in the MPL Philippines, EVOS have definitely made huge statements even back in the days when they were also known as Next Play Esports or even Next Play EVOS. So I believe that this will also carry out the same form of DNA in terms of some of the play styles that they will be going for. But of course, over the years, there's so many changes. But you know what? We got a change of code on our screen where you could basically redeem. If you have not redeemed already, all you have to do is just go to your game and head over to your in-game profile icon, go to settings, and press redemption code for you to basically get something out of the code.
Yeah, what did we tell you, right? You gotta be prepared. You gotta be ready with that redemption code screen. Now, you have to race against each other to key in this code. And the first one to key in will take home something. We absolutely don't know what it is. It's gonna be a surprise. So let us know in the comment section if you're the one that redeemed it. Let us know what you get, because we're curious as well to know what exactly it is. Is it epic skin? Is it, I don't know, magic dust? I don't know. Let us know in the comment section. We'd like to know as well. So be the first one.
Yeah.
Quickly do it. You never know when the next code will pop up.
Okay, since we do have a little bit of time before we actually get back into, of course, our game, we've already saw what the draft is. Now, I want to ask you this question. Who do you think is going to get first blood? Just a random guess. Like, is it going to be Minana EVOS? Is it going to be MPX?
Well, I honestly...
Whoever wins gets a free dinner.
Honestly, I don't see much damage output from Minana EVOS, so that's one point. However, it's hard to deny the fact that they are leading the chart before the RSG game, at least. So, based out of that, I would probably say Minana, because I'm imagining things right now. Like, imagine that the Cho goes somewhere. Yes, he leaves the XP lane at some point, and then he goes somewhere. Because he's at the XP lane, he'll get to level 4 faster. He's able to do a Way of the Dragon underneath the turret earlier on, and that's how he gets the first blood. So yeah, I even paint out the story here.
You basically playing it out to level 4 already. I like that confidence. I mean, I have to choose a ladder because, of course, I give you the benefit of picking first, like the blue side. So, MPX and C, I fancy their chances. They do have a very aggressive composition that they are also looking for those very early engagements. So I do think that, my odds are pretty good. I don't know about you guys in the chat, like who's gonna get first blood. You guys can type in the chat if it's MPX or Minana EVOS. So, we got a little bit more time. We do, of course, have a little bit of a slight delay as they are remaking the lobby, but rest assured, we'll get the game going shortly.
Yeah. So welcome to the podcast, ladies and gentlemen. But looks like the podcast has to end a little bit earlier as our game is ready. So we will be jumping into our game. This is our final series for today. Welcome to Minana EVOS versus MPX NC.
And this is where we'll see a little bit of a tug of war going on over the mid side. Hani putting a little bit more of a pressure from the sides, as Pozan is going to be able to spot him out. So we're going to see whether or not will they actually get something out of this as Lord. Oh my word. I guess you got your dinner. That's first blood for Minana EVOS.
Yeah, either way, I'm still going to get my dinner, right?
True.
Yeah.
Either ways, you gotta eat, man.
Yeah. Okay. You played it right. Yes, I'm still going to get my dinner. So I'm going to rephrase. Either way, I'm still going to get my free dinner, right?
Yeah, I guess so.
Okay.
You got it. You got to claim it whenever you want, good sir. Anyways, back into the game we go. That's first blood for Minana EVOS with a swift execution and looking for the second flicker being popped already by Mal. Will be blown up by Domeng just underneath the turret. What a risky move coming from Doman. Also forcing a flicker, but over the top side, Sonic goes in for a trade as well. Technically a one-pointer for each laner, and they're looking for the second, juggling it through. Sonic could not soak in more damage, and he almost get another blow at it.
Wow, that was really, really confident, but now Kaizen comes by. Sonic still manages to get away. So Sonic, let's see, he's the jungler, so he doesn't have a flicker, so he's dependent on his skills to get away, so it came at the right timing for him.
You know, like, maybe I should retract the free dinner because you predicted a level 4 sort of a first blood. But we're getting such a fast-paced action. Now we're already at Turtle, resetting right now. MINANA EVOS tries to gain a little bit more of an idea where exactly the rest of NPX and NSEA is. Astral clone already being popped up, hitting over to Pozan, and they're going for that dive, forcing a little bit of flicker. Hyde has to make his move. Black Dragon form, hunting out Pozan. And yet, the turtle still stands. Somehow, MPX finds a little bit more leeway and will be able to secure the first turtle.
Yeah, solo kill there for JM onto the back line. And they're not done yet, though. Sonic will be the next one to fall. Kaizen is in not really trouble, but he's the one causing trouble to Ye3. Not able to secure the jungle minion, but that's okay. Ye3 still there all alone. He sees Yanni, he goes in, and Hani gets away to safety. Nope, Ye3 will secure it.
What a wild ride we're having here. NSEA will find 3 kills already in a short span of 3 minutes. And this absurd range of Novara is what a lot of all these players fear. And we'll expect a lot more snipes to come right through this match. MINANA EVOS, a very solid start, but MPX NC is also showing their prowess when it comes down to contesting for objectives. So they're not exactly too far off in this game where it's only 1,000 deficit for the time being. A little bit more of a jostle control over on the bottom side of the river. Astral will basically reveal both Hyde as well as Pozan. And I guess this is the reason why they brought the Rafaela on board, where whenever this Novaria goes in for a poke, you can easily just heal back up.
And you know, I wanted to point out that the Cho XP didn't happen. So I guess that's the reason of the delay as well. So it became a Yuzong instead. So okay, Yuzong XP lane makes tons of sense. So that's okay here. But speaking about what makes sense, let's see if this will make sense for MINANA EVOS as they secure a mega kill.
That's 4 in a row for Lance. And we're just going to see spot one more out. He might just be able to aim for Sonic, so let's see if Lance can actually get another shot. And he's just going to go for it. That's 5 for Lance.
Man, can somebody stop Lance? He's sniping everyone down. Now Ye3 is all alone, surrounded by the members of MINANA EVOS. He has the turret to protect him, but for how long? But Ye3, he should be able to get away. He is sort of tanky enough at this early stage of the game, so he is fine for now. But what's not fine is the turtle.
Yeah, this time around, MINANA EVOS will be able to just bag it in without all too much of a casualty. MPX and C, they were all scattered, and of course they do have their own worries with such a well-fed Novaria over the mid lane, and there's just very tough jostle of control for you to even find a dive onto this Novaria at this point of time. Even with the Arlot as well as the Lilia, what can you exactly do in order to actually catch this Novaria?
Yeah, this will be a big issue, right? Like Novaria always keeping a good distance and landing shots with the Astral Recall, so it's definitely very, very dangerous. But to be fair, the Astral Recall is to a certain extent quite hard to hit because of that distance, number one, because of the channeling time, number two. So the fact that he's able to hit all those Astral Recalls and secure 5 kills as of now, an average of 1 kill per minute, he has a lot of game sense to execute it.
Oh, Sonic managed to actually steal away the orange buff, and that basically riled up the rest of MINANA EVOS with Kaizen going for a chase. They do spot one out. Circling Eagle has to be popped by Hani. As Kaizen will eventually get jumped on, Gunnaver will be able to juggle him up in the air. I believe they will have to let this box hit go. A good trade coming out of MPX NC.
Yeah, showing some fight there. After stealing the orange buff, they got another kill, and now they're going in for more. As we can see here, Yetri goes in onto the backline onto Domain. Domain kinda low, backs off, recalls back to safety, and now MPX NC will take the first turret in the middle.
Yeah. Meanwhile, over the bottom side as well as top, MPX and CS already lose each one of their turrets, and now a little bit more pressure coming from Yetri. Well, or should I say, Lord JM. Turtle is now up online. Honey now will be able to fight for a little bit of control where Black Dragon form has already been popped. Huge damage onto Hyde, and there is only one member of MPX and C along the turtle pit, and that's not gonna cut it. MINANA EVOS will be able to get one for themselves. And here we go. Lord JM dives in, finds the Arlock, and this is where Sonic retaliates, but will also be burned down.
Oh, lots of damage from Doming as well. Putting pressure onto MPX NC, and they managed to get that one kill onto Yetri. That is good enough for them. They got the turtle, they got the kill. That's all they wanted. MINANA EVOS showing discipline in that fight.
And one problem that I do see out of this composition for MPX NC is that they don't seem to have an efficient way to call for an engagement. They do have the Guinevere, but you don't really want her to dive in head first because you want all these utilities to lock onto the carries, which is all the way through the back line. And once she does, like even if you do have an Arlot to actually navigate your way through, that isn't exactly the most efficient way to start off a fight. Therefore, MINANA EVOS, they're very confident in going in for all these aggressive approach because you have that Yuzong as well as the Baxia to start hunting out.
Yeah, I guess you're right there. So it's a bit hard for MPX NC to start off a fight unless they can get a one-person pick-off or the final slash lands. But speaking about landing, Lord JM lands another kill in the middle thanks to his teammates as well. They caught MPX NC off guard.
Yeah, and that solidifies my point, right? You saw that Guinevere on the front line. What happens if that Guinevere steps foot forward first? Exactly that. You just get bursted down. So you need somebody secondary to actually initiate. Oh, my word. Astro now, they popped up over on the side of Pozan and will be sniped as well by Doming.
Wow.
Oh, they're just playing everything from far range.
Oh yeah, they have Lance as the Novaria. They have Doming who can snipe. So they can keep a good distance, and in case needed, Lord GF, Black Dragon form, can provide that level of protection. So MINANA EVOS, they are playing like two long-range backliners. In fact, you can argue that Hardy could be some sort of a backliner as well, but you have Lord GM who can be the frontliner, Kaizen has the front line, so they playing like as if it's like a 2-3 formation or a 3-2 formation that can interchange.
Yeah, I just love the versatility of what MINANA EVOS offers on the table. Now they're going to be getting a pickoff as well. Lands, one more in the bag, make it 6. And it doesn't seem like MPX NC can even step foot out of that turret range.
Yeah, make it 6 or make it sick right now because MINANA EVOS is bringing the pain to MPX NC 11-4 with a 6k goal lead at this moment. Looking very strong for MINANA EVOS, but as compared to like some of the previous matches that we have seen, at least this gap is still it's big, but it's not that big per se. So MPX NC, as long as they can gain control back of the jungle somehow, they can snowball back. But the moment we talk about snowballing, it is Doming to snowball to get another kill.
I just love how this is a race between Doming as well as Lance on who can basically hit even harder from the longest range. Doming will be able to put one more turret down over the mid side, and coming from all directions, Lord JM is going to find that opening to launch an engagement, but just waiting for that perfect timing where you still have waves for MPX NC to deal with over the top side. So they will be scattered, and they can take it as slow as they want to. MINANA EVOS have all the arsenal of the utility and a lot of bullets to work with the chamber. Here comes the Lord JM.
Yeah, Black Dragon form onto the backline, zoning them away, but the turret is still alive, so the turret is helping MPX NC, but to no avail. The turret is not able to get any kills or help MINANA or help MPX NC Instead, Minana EVOS looks like they will lose Lord JM because he opened the Black Dragon from all the way to the back line, and now Sonic is in trouble with a little bit of health left, but he managed to step away. Now Minana EVOS playing as a 4. They are still going in very confidently despite not having Lord JM with them.
Yeah, all I'm looking at is how this Rafaela has a lot of heavy lifting to do to keep the teammates alive. You can see that MPX and C, they are forced to stick together no matter the cost. If they were isolated, you just get chased down by the Boxer as well as the Yuzong, and I don't think that they can ever really take a full-on 1-versus-1 even at this point in time. Have to see is now completed for the side of Doming. And we're just gonna see a lot of three-pointer shots coming out of Minana.
Oh yeah, the slam dunk here from Lance all the way from the back line. And look at the protection that he has. Just look at the map, right? So he has like Baxia close by with him. He has Honey to be at the front as well. So he keeps a really, really good distance. And for MPX and C, if you kind of think about it, which hero can go for the back line? They don't have someone who can jump in the back. They don't have a assassin type jungler to catch Lance as well. So they pretty much don't have an answer to the Novaria.
Yeah, the only person to do so may be the Arlot, but even so, like, that's not exactly going to be all too easy because you have to go through layers and layers of Minana EVOS members. They're just playing around the Lord, and I guess in the 5v5 setting, it might just actually do the trick. Good if it finds one, they're aiming for Lord JM, but the rest of them dive right in. Lance finds another one, but Mal shreds them with Tornare apart, but Mal goes down. So it's a 1-for-1 exchange, but it doesn't seem to be all too difficult for the rest of MPX and C to keep themselves alive, but not for the Arlot though. Domang with another shot to blow him up.
And here we go. Lance with the Astro Recall from afar, securing another kill. I mean, how are they going to deal with him? Lance is going to get away this round clean. No kills onto him because look at his other team members. Lord JM, 3 deaths. Kaizen, 1 death. Ani, 2 deaths. So they have all been securing their backline, which is Doming as well as Lance, sacrificing themselves, opening up so much space. And even if we look at the itemization, like there's so much damage for the side of Minana EVOS that the backline can produce, and all they created was the front line. We got Dominance Eyes held by Lord JM, and we have all the tanky items for Kaizen. That's good enough for them to protect the 2 long-range heroes on Minana EVOS.
My word, I look at what this damage output is coming from Lance C1. One shot over on the Rafaela, it's already half HP. And back to what you have mentioned, the spacing that Minana EVOS creates, you can see that they get dispersed in various formations, and it will still work out because they can afford to fight from afar. And look at that, Connie is just looking for a huge circling eagle, and here goes Black Dragon form being popped, and Lord, he's just gonna be jumping alongside next to the Lord while they destroy both inhibitors at the same time. But MPX and C, they call in for the fight. They're gonna dive in for Domain, will not find it. Instead, Immortality being popped up, and Domain still finds Z.
And we're not done yet though. We can see the minions marching in. Can MPX and C clear out the minions? But if they do, they risk themselves going down, Doming with a double kill, potentially getting the next one onto Mal, and Mal eliminated by Domain. Triple kill for him, and that is how Minana EVOS will wrap things up.
What a stellar game out of Minana EVOS, where we are looking at probably some of the most genius ideas being displayed to us here in the KOHAI C Championship. I just love that all the brains and bronze are being put into place. And of course, we got Yelly Hayes to ideate such a composition for the team.
Yeah, Minana EVOS, I mean, they are solid looking at their composition. But overall, I would say this is probably an outdraft because for MPX and C, they don't have an answer to deal with the backline. So it is just a matter of drafting the formation that Minana EVOS, the idea that they have. There's basically no counter if you look at the lineup of MPX and C.
Yeah, there's just no way of actually getting close to either one of the carries of MINANA EVOS. In some of all these early exchanges, you could still see that there was some form of retaliation coming in from MPX and C. And when they do stick together, they can actually keep their health bars intact. But once they do step a little bit out of the box or the circle of the Rafaela, then it doesn't seem like there's much ways for you to actually retreat safely as well, because all these damages combined from both Lance as well as Domain was just too overwhelming.
Yeah, they at some point they scale to the point of no return, right? Like the amount of damage that they can dish out, and yeah, there's like just too much for MPXNC to absorb. And you gotta think about it, they actually started off from the start because of the astral recall from Lance. It hit beautifully, that allowed him to get a good amount of kills, and then Domain was untouched. He wasn't really pressured throughout the entire game. That allowed him to scale as well on his own. And when it reached the mid stages onwards, that's where the swap happens from Lance to Domain to say, hey, you know what? I'm passing over the baton to you. It's your turn right now to deal the damage and get your own kills.
Yeah, and I'm just looking at all these form of score lines, like it's just perfect scores for both of the mage as well as the marksman, and for very very good reasons, right? Kaizen opens up, create that space, and then you have Hani always scouting on, giving a little bit more of that advantage for Land CY in order to get those snipes going. And if all else fails, like you can still rely on the Circling Eagle and the Tortoise Poissons, and Lord JM is always daring to put his life for the team in order to get those huge advantages back for MINANA EVOS.
Honey to a certain extent also seems like that middle person, right? Like because of the Flash of the Oasis, he provides healing as well, so he can heal whether whoever's in front, whether it's Abaxia or Lord JM, or if needed, heal behind. But for the most part of that game, like what we see, the backline, nobody needs to really pay too much attention. Again, coming back to because MPXNC has no way to go to the backline, so it's all about supporting the two frontliners. And with a full-on support from Honey given to the two frontliners, Kaizen as well as Lord JM, they become even more tankier, providing even more support and zoning to MPXNC. And that will also equals to, there's so much math here running, equals to them not able to touch the backline at all.
Yeah, and I don't think there's any form of counterplay that MPX NC can currently think of. So I'm just calling it next game we're gonna be using a Novaria ban. Like, or better yet, just snatch it away, you know, like, but if you snatch it away, you gotta find